Alright then, so I've already run this script, npm run dev, down in the terminal inside the routing folder here. So this has spun up a local development server, meaning we can view the project at localhost port 8080. So this is the dummy application that the Vue CLI created for us. So in this video, I want to talk a bit more about the Vue router and how we can set up routes. So the Vue router is not actually a part of the core Vue framework. It's a separate package entirely, or a plugin if you like, that we have to install in our Vue projects. Now when we used the Vue CLI to make this project, we used a different template. It was called Webpack instead of the Webpack simple template that we used in the last chapter. Now this template, this new one that we used, already took care of installing this Vue router for us. And we can see that by looking at the package.json file. We can see the Vue router right here. So it installed that Vue router package, and then it's being required also at the top of this file inside the router folder called index.js. We can see that this thing right here is importing the router from Vue router. So this is where we're setting up our routes inside this index.js file right here. Now notice that we also import the Vue library at the top as well, and the reason we do that is because we need to use this plugin, and the way we use a plugin in Vue is by saying vue.use. So we needed to import Vue in order to do that. We say vue.use the router, and then we've set up Vue to use this plugin. So once we've done that, we can now start setting up our routes, and the way we do that is by setting up a new route instance, which is this thing right here. So we say new router, which is a function, and it takes an object right here as a parameter. Now this object contains a property called routes, and this is an array filled with all of the different routes that we want to use in this application. Now each route is an object. You can see we have one route defined at the minute, and it comes with several different properties itself. We have a path property, which is what a user goes to in the address bar, for example, just / or / about, or something like that. So that's the first property, the path. Then we have the name property, which we'll use to reference this route later on. Then finally, we have the component property here, which is the component that we want to load when a user visits this route or this path. So we're saying right here, we want the hello world component to load when they go to /. Now we have to import the hello world component at the top right here in order for the Vue router to know what this thing is. So we're saying go to this component basically when we go to /. But how is that actually loading in to the application? Well, what happens is that component gets loaded in right here where we have the router Vue tag. So the Vue router is going to look for that component hello world. It's going to grab all of this template and it's going to inject it into app.vue right here. That's where it injects the components, okay? So let's just edit this a little bit. What if we instead want to call this home? Because we don't really want a hello world component in our application. We'll call this home. We'll change every other instance of this to home as well. So up here, both of these. So we'll save that. Then we also want to rename this component to home.vue, since that's what we're loading in now. Then inside home, what we'll do is we'll change all of the template. Let's get rid of all of this for now because we don't want any of that inside our app. Get rid of that. We'll leave the div there, but we'll change it to home. And then inside, we'll do a h1 with home as the text. And then down here, we'll change the name of the component to home. We don't need this message property anymore in the data, and we can get /rid of all of this style as well. So let's delete that. Okay, so now we should be loading in this home component when we go to just /. Make sense? So let's give this a whirl. If we go to just /, then we get the home component. Awesome. So let's try setting up another route. First of all, what we'll do is create a new component, and I'm going to call this about. So we'll go to new file, and this is called about.vue. All right, so in here we need a template. Inside the template, a div with a class of about, and inside that we'll do a h1 which says about inside it. Then let's do our script object. Inside that we'll have our name property, which is going to be about. Then we need the data, which returns an empty object. We don't need any data at the minute. This is just for the future. Then down here, we'll add on a style tag, just in case we need that at some point as well. Okay, so let's save that. Now we have this about component as well. And when a user now goes to /about up here, what I'd like to do is load in that component. So let's set up that route. We go to the index.js file and we'll do another route object like this. So let us do a little comma, then we'll do another object. The path is going to be /about. The next property is the name, which is going to be about. And then finally the component, which is going to be about. Now we need to import this component so that the router understands what this is. So up here, what we'll do is say import about from, and it's going to be @components /about. Now, what does this @ mean? It means get the root of the project. So go to this level right here, the source level. All right. And then it means go into the components folder and then into the about file. So whenever you see the @ /, it means go to the root directory, which is the source directory right here, then carry on from there. Okay, so then that's that route set up. So if we now save this and go to /about and press enter, then we should see the about component. If we go to just /, then we get the home component. So there we go. That's the basics of setting up routes, and that was very, very simple. And notice also how quick this was. If you go to about, very, very quick. That's because, again, we're not sending requests to the server here. Vue.js and the Vue router is taking care of all of this on the front end. And all of our components and pages are on the front end. So we don't need to make those additional requests.